Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. Today is the 9th of July 2021. And as always, we start by taking a look at any new coins, any interest rate changes. So I've updated all the latest Swissborg changes. Once these sort of like get a little bit more kind of steady, a little bit more stable over time, I might switch to the last 30-day. But at the moment, because the rates have dropped so much over the last few weeks, I don't think it's really fair to put the last 30-day rates in here, because it looks like they're substantially higher than you would actually be getting paid. But if these stabilize a little bit, I might switch to the last 30. The other thing to mention is the Celsius network, so up to 6.2% for international. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's it for most of the kind of coin changes and new coins. As always, if you see any errors here, please do let me know in the comments below, and I will update them as soon as I can. I do try and keep on top of these as much as kind of possible, but I can always kind of like miss things, particularly with kind of Celsius that tweak the rates quite frequently. And as we add new platforms in as well, we're going to be adding Yield app. They've gone live with Bitcoin now, and as I mentioned before, as soon as they went live with Bitcoin, I will be adding them to this spreadsheet. So I will be updating the spreadsheet. I might tweak the look and kind of feel and the layout a little bit as well in the next kind of week or so. But as I said, if you see any errors, do let me know in the comments below. While we're talking about that, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic, or leave a comment in the comments below. I'm getting less and less views month on month seemingly at the kind of moment. The Google algorithm certainly doesn't seem to kind of like me, so any kind of comments, thumbs up and stuff like that really does kind of help, so that would be much appreciated. So then moving over to the token prices. Bitcoin, bit of a turbulent week. We're still trending, sort of trading within this kind of range, sort of like a sort of 36,000 kind of range. We had a nice run up middle of the week, but then the last couple of days, another big pullback down. Currently 2.5% over the last 7 days. But the good news is all the tokens, all four tokens that we kind of track here, are up compared to Bitcoin, and we'll have some more to add in. We'll have Yield token to add into this going forward as we add them into the spreadsheet as well. But all of them up compared to Bitcoin. I think that's probably true of a lot of altcoins this week. Seem to have fared a little bit better than Bitcoin. Nexo, the standout performer, up 13.7%. Cryptocom and Swissborg up just over 4%, and Celsius somewhere in the middle, about 7.5% up over the last week. So not an awful week, certainly from a token point of view. A little bit disappointing that Bitcoin is still, fluctuating within this range. But if you are trading, there's some great trading opportunities within this range, sort of short in at the top and then long in at the kind of bottom as it bounces around. And then moving into the story. So firstly, this is what we mentioned in the beginning. So Celsius, the international rates for Bitcoin have changed. So as you can see, if you earn in Celsius, it's 4.4%, but if you choose to earn in kind, if we scroll down again, up to 1 Bitcoin, 6.2%, over and above 1 Bitcoin, 3.51%. So this is exactly the same now as the US users, so users in the US, and now exactly the same rates for international users. So if you have 1 Bitcoin or less, it's a nice kind of like bump up in rates. Now, I don't know if this is reflected in the app. When I checked a couple of days ago, it was still showing 3.51, but I think that was because I have slightly over 1 Bitcoin. I've got like 1.1, 1.2 Bitcoin. So it was showing as 3.51 rather than a split or an average, or the kind of like tier. But nice to see that is now live. They've been promising that for months and months now, so nice to see that it's finally live. 6.2% for the first Bitcoin for international and US users. A little bit disappointing, I think, for some US users, and it hasn't been that clear because it's changed between 1 Bitcoin and 2 Bitcoins. First 1 Bitcoin, first 2 Bitcoins, and I think they kind of like it was 2, then they changed it to 1, then they moved it back to 2, but it is 1 Bitcoin, so it is just 6.2% on the 1 Bitcoin, regardless of whether you're in the US or an international user now. And then moving on to some other stories, as I mentioned before, Yield app will be added to our spreadsheet, and that's because they've launched Bitcoin interest rates. Now it says here paying up to 12%. If you jump into the small print, it's a base APY of 6% with a further 6% in a yield token reward. So it's 6%, which is still a very competitive rate. There's no tiers or anything like that. So it will be interesting to see how much Bitcoin they actually get deposited. It's one of the smaller kind of platforms that we cover, but a lot of interest, I think, on kind of Yield app, and the rates have been pretty good over the last kind of 6 months or so. Now I will be doing a full in-depth review. I want to spend another couple of weeks. I want to maybe move some Bitcoin on. Do a little bit more kind of playing around, and I'm also doing a little bit more research, and now they've launched the Bitcoin into their kind of background security and stuff like that. So might be a couple of weeks before I do it, but I will be doing a full overview of Yield, a full review of the kind of platform. And also on Yield, as we are on them, is a reduction in rates for ETH. So this was announced a few days before the Bitcoin announcement. I don't know whether they did that deliberately because they knew there'd be some good news coming out with Bitcoin being added. But the rate for Ethereum had dropped from 7% basically, from 10% down to 7.5%. So still a really competitive rate. These headline rates are, as always, a combination of the actual interest you earn in kind plus this kind of bonus which is earned in Yield token, and that depends on how many Yield tokens you've got. The more Yield tokens you have on the kind of platform, the higher your kind of bonus, and there's various tiers. So for example, if you deposit kind of like 1 Bitcoin, you got no Yield tokens, you'll be earning your 7.5% now, and then and a small amount, 2% of Yield token, and then if you increase the number of Yield tokens, you can earn up to a 10% kind of bonus in their own token. That can be staked and earn interest as well. But we got here Bitcoin 6% plus between 2 and 6% bonus. Ethereum down from 10 to 7.5%, and Yield app is one that doesn't really change its rates that frequently. So I think it will be really interesting in the next month or two to see whether this initial rate quoted 6% for Bitcoin actually stays, or whether they have to reduce that. It will be interesting also if they get a lot of Bitcoin deposit on the platform, whether they are able to generate enough kind of yield to pay those kind of rates. But all should be revealed, no doubt, in the fullness of time. But yeah, Bitcoin now available, but Ethereum reduction in rate, but still a very competitive rate, 7.5% compared to a lot of the competitors. And then moving on to Nexo, another listing of the Nexo token, this time on Bitfinex. We covered quite a few of these over the last 2 or 3 months. Nexo have been pretty good at getting their token onto some large exchanges. Bitfinex, obviously a very large exchange, so nice to see Nexo is now trading on that. I believe this went live a couple of days ago, on July the 7th. And the trading pairs are US dollars, Tether, and Bitcoin. So if you have Nexo tokens, or you're looking to kind of purchase any, it gives you another option. As I said, they've been launching on a few decent sized exchanges over the last few months, so nice to see them getting listed excuse me, a little bit further and wider. And then moving on to some stories from Crypto.com. The first one here. So last week we talked about a partnership between Crypto.com and Formula One. And I did actually watch the Grand Prix last Sunday, and I noticed some Crypto.com kind of billboards around the circuit. But this is an even bigger partnership. It's with the UFC, and they are becoming the first ever official fight kit partner of the UFC. They're also named first official cryptocurrency platform of the UFC, which kind of goes without saying, I think. But I think this fight kit partner is quite interesting because it basically means that all the gear that the athletes will be wearing when they're kind of fighting will have a kind of co-branding with Crypto.com, so you'll see it on the kind of shorts and other stuff of a lot of these kind of fighters, no doubt on the kind of caps they're wearing after the fights and stuff like that as well. But I believe this was a very large kind of sponsorship. I think this just goes to show quite how much money Crypto.com have been able to kind of like make. I think largely due to their kind of token. When you create your own kind of token, you essentially printing kind of money out of kind of thin air, and obviously it's giving them a huge amount of kind of like working capital in order to pursue some of these kind of partnerships. Formula One and now the UFC. There was an NHL partnership as well, I believe, a couple of months ago. So nice to see them continuing this kind of partnership. Undoubtedly, this will give them a big kind of advertising kind of base outside the kind of core crypto markets. And because Crypto.com, they do cater for sort of like first time users with a pretty kind of like nice kind of iOS and Android app, on smartphone kind of app, where you can kind of purchase. You can obviously then get one of their crypto-backed debit cards, which allows you to kind of spend cryptocurrency in the shops and earn cash back in CRO as well. So nice to see this partnership happening. Will be interesting to see how many more users they get on the back of this. And then another Crypto.com story, just briefly. The syndicate, which we haven't mentioned for a little while, Matic, or what used to be called Matic is now Polygon, is rebranded, will be the next coin or token available. So this will go live on Monday morning. There's a $250,000 allocation, and the same rules apply in terms of having a CRO staked, I believe, and a 30-day trading history on the exchange. But you can jump to the syndicate, learn more, and read about all the requirements for this. But Matic been doing really well over the last few months, so nice to see that listed on the syndicate. And then finally, I just wanted to kind of mention this, and this was kind of Nexo. I get a lot of promotional stuff from kind of Nexo, and this was quite a nice one. It's like a roundup of what's happened in the media over the last week. They're sending these out weekly, but really I just wanted to kind of talk. I think this sort of is indicative of a lot of these platforms that we're seeing more and more marketing pieces, more and more AMAs and videos and stuff like that being launched and being kind of like created by these kind of companies. I think Celsius probably were the first to do this a lot, obviously their weekly AMA, but now Nexo have jumped on this. You've got Yield App and other providers as well jumping on that kind of AMA bandwagon, but also doing a huge amount of stuff across kind of social media. So whether that's with Twitter or YouTube, a lot of them now have their own kind of blogs. So what I might be doing is putting together a resources page. This is quite interesting. It's just everything that's been happening in the media over the last kind of 7 days, but I just really wanted to talk a little bit more broadly, really, about the fact that what I'm planning to do is put together a website that might incorporate all our spreadsheets, so all the crypto interest rates accounts. Ideally, eventually, I'd like to make a dynamic kind of system, so you can choose like your coin and how many you want to deposit, and then it will give you all the best rates. So for example, you could choose Bitcoin, you want to deposit 5 Bitcoin, and then it will go through and it will show you how much you can earn through all the different kind of like providers. But in the meantime, I'll probably just reproduce this table on the website, and I want to put some resources together. So probably a review of each of the platforms, and then list all their kind of like resources, so their official kind of Twitter accounts, YouTube accounts, their blogs and stuff like that. So just make it easy for people to find out what's happening in one place. So let me know if you like the idea of that. I've been toying with it for a little while, but I'm probably hopefully going to get that going over the next few weeks. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching as always. As I mentioned before, if you give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, that would be fantastic. Hope you're keeping well. Look after yourselves. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.